All right, legends, it is round 13 and round 14 prep. Obviously, round 13, we can only have our starting 13. Round 14, we get 17 across the park. And obviously, you can have some loopers on the interchange and emergencies, but you still have to obviously fill that 13 just like any other week. It's just a normal week, but you have 3 teams on the bye. So I'm going to go through the best available 13 you can have by average. And though these are guys that I don't think will be playing Origin, will make my starting 13. We'll have notable mentions for all the 50-50 Origin people. And then obviously, yeah, the second and third best hooker kind of thing with some cheapies that you can throw in to that best 13. But this is the 13 that should, by average, score the best for that week and make you bulk ranks. And there could be other guys obviously down there like Armstrong with an 87 last week. He could come out and outdo one of the wing fullbacks, so maybe you throw in a few cheapies in there, like Weeks and that, they can do a good job. But firstly, in the hooking position, we're obviously going to go through round 14 and the best starting 17 you can get for that week too, not including Origin guys, which you may hold 1 or 2 that could be in that list. But we want to focus on picking really good players that have a great buy schedule. And Reed Marnie's one of those guys. He's the best averaging hooker at the moment. I will jump in and go through the buy, hold, risk, sell in a little bit more detail on all the players, but this is just around, the best players that you can fit into those weeks there. So Reed Marnie, he does cover 5 of those, 6 important buy rounds there. So he misses 15 and 19, 15 not being an important one, 19 being the other important buy round there. But he plays 13, 14, 16, 17, and 20, and is the best averaging hooker right now that isn't playing Origin. So you've obviously got him, and then you've got Robson and also Grant, but likely Robson to be in Origin, in my opinion. He may not be, but if not, we can throw him in the notable mentions list, and I think you're holding him until that point. And if he becomes a good person to hold and doesn't play Origin, then that's cool. He would be on this list. But Reed Marnie's number 1, and we'll go through the shout-outs as we get a little bit lower. In the mids, based on price, this is in the 2, 3, 4 category, is Jack de Belin. He's the highest price and highest averaging mid currently that you can select. And yeah, he's definitely an interesting option coming into this week. With Joe Tarpany second there, he misses round 14, which we'll speak about. And we're about to compare the best round 13 team with the best round 14 team. And the more players that you can have from both of those lists combined, like Reed Marnie could be an example, as someone who doesn't play Origin, there's the best scorer across both those weeks. That could be awesome to have in your side. But Jack de Belin, as I said there, Joe Tarpany covers here 13, 16, 17, 20, as you can see on the screen. If you're listening on podcasts, I'll try to say as many as I can. But you should know by this point what sort of buys anyone in your team has, or guys you're looking at if you're a serious player, which I know all of you guys are, that's for sure. But yeah, Jack de Belin, Tarpany, and then Max King. They're the 3 best mids you can have currently, apart from the guys that could potentially be in Origin or will definitely be in Origin, which we'll go through the Hopgoods and these types of guys there. So King covers 5 of those big games as well. Tarpany's at 4, JDB's at 4 as well. So they're the 3 that you're looking at in that midsection. For the edges, you've got Ewan Aitken actually is the best averaging and the highest priced edge that you can have for round 13, which is pretty interesting. And you could play him in centers as well, obviously. So he's dual with the center, which most of you know. And then Dylan Lucas, he's actually the next best on that list at 680 odd K and averaging really, really well. A massive score last week, out this week, so you can't buy him, but he could be around 13. Interesting purchase there for sure. And then we've got some shout outs there. Yeah, so those 2, they just seem to always score well in fantasy, don't they? And Lucas this is a sad one because I hyped him up all preseason along with Terrell May. Terrell's come out and done well and then lost some minutes, and Lucas just continues to pile on the points in recent history after he had that head knock in that first couple of rounds. For the halves, it's an interesting one. I've got Dylan Brown as a definite because he covers those 4 rounds there, 13, 14, 17, 19, and is scoring really well without Moses. If Moses come back, he would actually be the second best on the list. And if he's not there, then it's going to be Sam Walker. But they're both maybes because is Moses going to play? And is Walker a chance of Origin? I think he's a small chance of Origin. He's a higher chance of being 18th man. So that's that. But it's a really gross position outside of the cheapies on offer in the KO weeks and these types of players who we'll speak about shortly. For the center position, you've got Joey Manu, who's dual wing fullback as well, but we'll pop him in as clearly the best center right now. And then Dane Gagai is your second best guy. And they both cover 4 of those weeks, they only miss 1 differently to each other. Manu misses 14 compared to Gagai missing 16. The 2 best scorers in that position. Try to look to get one or both. Wing fullback, you've got Edwards then. He's the best scorer by far at the moment in that wing fullback slot. Covers 4 of those rounds, 13, 14, 17, 20, if he doesn't make Origin. But he's obviously a chance. I don't think he's I think Teddy still has that spot. But if he doesn't, then Edwards is going to be that clear guy. Drinkwater, a little bit up and down in the last couple of games, but he's still the next best on offer. And then it's going to be Trey Fuller. He will play that week. He obviously play 16 and 19 if he's fit as well. And then maybe could back up if they rest Hammer after Origin in 17 and 20. So yeah, if you're still holding him like myself, I think he's the 3rd best scorer. Could be the 2nd best scorer in that round 13 clash. Alrighty, it's pretty strong list, isn't it? So count how many you've got in this list currently. If you have a bunch of them, or you're looking to get 1 or 2 of them extra, then you're going to be in good stead to do really well in round 13. Before we get into the round 14 numbers, we'll go through the shout-outs for round 13 so you can get a clearer picture of where things are at across all the positions. So for the hooking position, you've got Jeremy Marshall-King. He's the 2nd best, very, very clearly. He covers 5 of those big buy round numbers as well. Very similar to that of Reed Money. The only one that Reed misses compared to Jeremy. So Jeremy misses 14 and plays 19. Reed plays 14, misses 19. That's the big difference there. You got Brayley squared, so Blake and Jaden. Jaden scoring a little bit better at the moment, a little bit cheaper as well, so that's cool, but both will be really good across that period. Jacob Little, they all play round 13, 14, which is cool. Brandon Smith is the other option now that Connor Watson is out, but I don't know if you're holding Sweet, I don't know if you want to go back to the well and buy him, but yeah, that's that. For the mid position, we've got Plath as the next clear best option, in my opinion. He's the 4th best. If you own him like myself, a really solid guy to own. And yeah, not too different to the scoring likely that you're going to get from Max King, but he covers 5 of those big ones. Then you've got a big clumped list together. Some are dual position. We've got Radley, Hazelton, Kafusi, Morgan Smithies, who's dual, Eisenhuth there as well, Terrell May, Josh Curran, Scott Sorensen and Madison. Obviously, a bunch of those guys at the end are dual with Edge as well. So yeah, keep that in mind where you want to place them, or if you own them currently, where you want to end up. In that buy, hold, sell, I'll go into a little bit more detail on Sorensen, for example, just to show you what we will go through there. But they're all guys that are the next on the list, sort of 5th through to 10th in next best mid options. And then on the cheaper side of things, you got Harm Sele and I think Sam Hughes. And you could put Salmon in there, but I've got him in the edge position there. With Hopgood and McInnes, Origin potential, I think, is where they're going to be end up being. If they don't make Origin, then both of those guys will go up onto the list here, and they're both ahead of all 3 of these guys in JDB, Tapane, and King. And if that was the case, these guys would slide down, and the importance for McInnes and the importance for Hopgood there would skyrocket for sure. So if you own him, again, you're waiting until after this week to find out what's happening, and they will push up into that list if so. For the edge, you got KPP next, along with Britton Nickera. They're 2 next guys on the list. I could probably slot them together as 2 important guys. KPP more of a guy that more people own and is a definite hold. And then Nickera could potentially still buy, but had a low one on the weekend, and that might turn people off. But they're still the next 2 best after Aiken and Lucas, sorry. And then you got Cardi Party. He's getting a bit cheaper, scored well on the weekend. Not sure how he's affected with Madison, but at the moment he's on the bench, so not ideal. Lemuelu I'd place ahead of Cardi. The only issue with him is if they're going to do this, start him on the bench, but then game day switch him. Is he going to play 80 minutes? Is he going to be bench minutes? I'm not sure. But on the cheaper side, you got Finafuriaki, Hilamluki, who we'll mention today as well, and Jamin Salmon. In the halves position, you've got Burton and Dearden, who I think are a pretty high chance of Origin. You got Isaiah Gatoa and Jerome Luai as shout-outs as well in that mid-tier price. And then the cheapies, you've got KO Weeks, Atkinson, Strange, and Jack Cole, all guys you could have in your starting team for that round 13 week there. And then the center, shout-outs to Aiken and Karaz. I've got Aiken in the edge position right now, but he would obviously be up there in the centers as well. Just wanted to mention that as him being dual. There's best and next best and covers 2 position like Manu, which is good. In the maybe Origin category, I think you've got Lomax, Ramey, and Cobo, potentially like Tungo as well. There's that situation. Not sure, I don't think you buy them this week if they don't make Origin. There are holds. Actually, Cobo is out anyway, so we can leave him out. Farnworth, Tungo, Timoko, and Penasini, all next best options in the centres. Will do a great job for you over the period, but not the best scorers in their position. Tungo could be, and he's a little bit underpriced at the moment, and we'll go through him in this week's video. And then on the cheaper side, you've got Bailey Simonson, dual position as well. Ethan Strange, Seb Chris, and Sully for the centres. And then for the wing fullback, yes, I had to mention Manu again. He's the top centre, but yeah, fills in at fullback as well. And then you got Dom Young. I think he's a really good one to own. Doing great things at the moment. Jermaine Osako on the slide a little bit, but still plays 13, 16, 19. Lomax, dual position. Teddy as well. Does he make Origin? If he doesn't, he'll be an interesting purchase come round 13. And on the cheaper side of things, again, the dual position guys, Atkinson, Weeks, Armstrong. Again, most people are going to be playing him in round 13. And then Jack Bostock could be held as well. So that's the interesting round 13 side of things. And then I just wanted to do a quick focus on round 14. Again, this is a short video, guys. Just want to give you all the names. And then in the buy, hold, sell, I'll go through a few of these guys that could be purchases and important to your side in more detail. But also focusing, if you're pretty well set up for round 13, or you might be at 11 or 12, but you know you're going to be trading out a Cotter or a Crichton or something like that next week, and you're just going to replace them with a round 13 player, not a round 13 buy situation player, then you could sit at 11 and whatever trade in this week. Like if you wanted to trade out Jolliffe, you could trade him out to a guy that probably is going to score well this week, misses round 13, but then they're going to be good for the rest of the buy period. Like you don't have to buy someone that this week that's playing in round 13 or 14, or well, both anyway. They could just be a miss 13, play 14 and all the way through. Like you could be looking at Isaiah Papali'i, for example. But yeah, a few of those options there like that. So that's what I want to focus on in the buy, hold, risk, sell, is a little bit of around those guys as well, but then also around, yeah, obviously some of the good purchases and a bit of a deeper dive into them this week. But the best round 14 team by average that I've got right now for non-Origin players, again, so no backups, which some will do, obviously really well. Some that play, bench minutes or maybe outside backs like Val Holmes and stuff like that will likely come in and do well in a round 14 scenario, but we're not going to focus on them. What I want you to focus on here is the connection between round 13 and round 14 players. So the best hooker for round 13 was Reid Barney, and he continues to be the best hooker in round 14. So that's a good thing to note there, that if you want him, I think he's the best across both those weeks. For the mid section, JDB sticks in there, and he's in both, obviously. Tohu Harris and then AFB are going to be the next two best from round 14. It's a good thing that Harris is getting some rest. I think he'll come out and crush it. And then AFB obviously misses 13, which will be good to get a rest. And then he'll be fit and firing, ready to go for round 14 as well. So they're the two guys not in the first one. But Maxi King plays both as well. And the other option there, Tarpany, he doesn't play both. So yeah, that's that. For the edge for round 14, you've got Eli Katoa comes into that scenario. Ewan Aiken doesn't play, so he comes in for Katoa, who's the best option from round 14 as an edge. Isaiah Papali'i is a shout out. He's in the 17 anyway. Dylan Lucas maintains his position for both 13 and 14, which is pretty cool. Dylan Brown maintained his position in both 13 and 14, which is good. And then SJ comes into the best round 14 half purchase outside of the Origin guys for sure. Centre, you've got Ruben Garrick. He slots in there for Manu, who's out in round 14. So Garrick would be the next best guy up. And Gagai keeps his spot across both weeks. For the wing fullbacks, you've got Dylan Edwards, who, if he doesn't make Origin, is the best in round 13 and in round 14. Not sure if you would buy him in 14, even if he wasn't in Origin, just because he misses 16, 19. But either way, he would play 14, 17, 20 if Teddy was fit, not injured, and good to go. Drinkwater covers both weeks. And then Latrell Mitchell is the question mark. If he plays Origin, then no. But if he doesn't play Origin, he's a really good one to have. And is an interesting one as a buy this week. So you can get that good score. It is Indigenous round 2. And then from 14 onwards could be a really good one to look at. And then for the 14, 15, 16, and 17, I've got a couple across different positions. But Jerome Hughes, I had him on there with as a slash with Brown as like the very similar scorer. Moses could be as well, but we're not sure on where he's at with his foot. Hughes is back this week, which is good. Isaiah Papali'i I've got there with Britton Nicker as well. They both missed out on their edge position, but they're the two next best scorers. I think can be 50 plus guys. There's none of them else available outside of Origin players. And then Damien Cook, I wanted to give him a shout out there with JMK on the buy in that week. Damien Cook is a really terrific purchase. If he's not in Origin and playing 80 minutes or close to it, he'll have round 13 out of the way. Got to deal with round 17, I believe, but he would be playing 14 and 16 as the next best guy. So that is the setup across round 13 and 14 there. I'll obviously, just wanted to get that out there, just give you a bit of an idea, because that will then lead into the buy, hold, risk, sell, where some of these guys, they might not be perfect for round 13, but they're a good scorer this week, and they'll be really good for 14 through to 16 or 14 through to 19, and then you can sell them there or something like that. So that's where I wanted to slot this video in there, and I hope that really helped you guys in this podcast as well in helping select your teams and obviously check out where you're at in terms of numbers for those weeks. 14 is just like any other week. Get that full 17 on the park with 3 teams on the bye. Can be tough. And then round 13 is just your starting team there. So that would be the best. And that would cover all your positions. And there's obviously lots of guns and lots of money, which we don't all have. So that's where a couple of those cheapies like Armstrong, like Weeks, like Atkinson, Strange can all do a job for you in certain positions, whether it's Hughes in the mids. They're all going to do a job and help you out. So thanks for that video, guys. I hope it was very helpful, and we'll catch you in that big buy, hold, risk, sell.